So once again, for the third time, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the fourth demo lesson. For the demo lesson of the fourth intensive speaking course. Sorry, you see it's all mixing up in my head. Yesterday my glasses broke, and today I have a new pair of glasses because I am ready to see the world with new eyes, with new things, and to see the changes in people and the changes in the lesson. As you can see, there are no changes in the lesson. The lesson is the same as it was before, and I am here to teach it once again. We have, in the intensive speaking course number 4, vocabulary. Because we've been doing the speaking course for 4 consecutive times, this is the 4th speaking course, we now have the best vocabulary from every single topic. As you can see here, it says happiness, success, goals. But actually, there is more vocab here. There's 2 pages of vocab that we have chosen because it is the best vocab from all 4 speaking courses. Every single speaking course, we went through all the files and we chose the words that are the most important and we put them in here because this is the best vocab for you to learn. This is the vocabulary for the 4th speaking course. We have, number 1, general topic vocabulary for these topics. This is vocabulary connected to these topics, but you can also use it in other topics because it is important vocabulary. Next, we have idioms and collocations. These are very important. Without using idioms and collocations, you cannot get IELTS 7. It is impossible. It is part of the requirements. If you just speak using normal phrases and normal ideas, you will not get higher than 7 for your speaking. You need to be able to use complex ideas, difficult language, and difficult ideas. Without that, it is impossible to raise your score. Because of this, we have idioms and collocations connected to the topic, but also connected to general speaking, like academic idioms and different kind of easy-to-use idioms. They're easy to use in different sections and different topics, which is very important. They need to be flexible. If you learn an idiom that you can only use in one topic and in one way, that is not a good idiom because it's difficult for you to use it. It needs to be easy, simple. Those are the most important things, and that is what we focus on. Next, after that, we're going to be doing some Band 9 speaking samples, where I will be answering the questions about this topic. Some of these questions are from the app, new questions. Some of them are not new. In any case, I'll be answering these questions using the vocabulary from the lesson. You will be able to hear in context how to answer the questions. That's very important. You need to be able to use the vocabulary at the same time as speaking. You cannot just, use them separately. You need to know how to use the vocab while you're speaking. And that is what I'm going to teach you, using sentences, ideas, and paragraphs. It's very important to learn like this. And lastly, 2 things. We'll do some interaction where we'll be talking in the chat. And I have a topic lesson for today, which I'm going to be teaching you how to do. It's very important to also know how to do that. Let's get into it. Give me a second. Preparation. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, as I said before, to the demo lesson of the intensive speaking course number 4. Let's get into it. These vocabulary words I have already explained starting from here to around here, so I'm going to move on from these. These are great vocabulary words. Learn them. Every single vocabulary word that I talk about is very usable and very easy to use. They are all good vocabulary words, but the words that I specifically talk about, they are better, I guess. Somebody wants to sleep. They were knocking on the window. In any case, they are better and they are easier to use. They are more important, I guess. Those are the vocabulary words that I choose specifically. So now let's go through this list and I'll be choosing the vocabulary words from this part, the second page, that are usable and good vocabulary words. Financial target is a great way to describe something about money, basically. Generally, the word financial is actually a great collocation word, right? You can use this for a lot of different words. Like, for example, I guess you could say financial choice, financial decision. Financial decision is a very, very strong collocation. Financial education. Financial is a very good word that collocates with a lot of other words. So you should learn this word. You should learn the word financial. Next is the word money. Money? You guys know the word money. Next is the word commitment. Somebody keeps knocking on my thing. What do they want? It's 9. It's 9. Okay. Commitment is a word that means basically your connection to somebody or your the way that you, I guess, like you make a promise to somebody. That is called a commitment. A promise is a commitment. So, for example, if you commit to your business, that means that you believe in your business. Every single day, you are dedicated to it. And that's what we're going to talk about right now, dedication. Dedication, or the word dedicate. Let's do that, dedicate. Dedicate means when you put your time, your effort, your work into something. That means you are dedicated. Dedicated, basically, dedicated. So, for example, somebody who works at a company for 50 years, they are dedicated. You can also call them loyal. You can also call them hardworking, but mainly because they're working at the same company, they are dedicated. Let's continue. Accomplish. Accomplish is a synonym of to do, except it means successfully. It means you finish it. If you say, like, I'm going to do my homework, that doesn't necessarily mean that you finished it. That just means you started, basically. But accomplish means you finished. So, for example, I accomplished my homework. You can technically say that. It doesn't sound very good. Accomplish has a couple different uses, but directly, that's what it means. Next is the right path. Good collocation to describe, like, the right way, the correct way to do something. The word path generally has a lot of really nice collocations. Let's continue. Overwhelming. Overwhelming is something that makes you feel a lot of emotions. It's like very strong. For example, if you have like 10 hours of work every day, then you have to go to school, then you have to clean your house, that is overwhelming. That is too much work. So overwhelming means too much work, or it can be emotionally overwhelming. Like, for example, if your dog dies, right? Your dog is dead, you feel overwhelmed because you feel too many emotions. Let us continue. Next is the word consistency. This is a great vocabulary word, and it describes working every single day. Not necessarily every single day. Let's just say working without pauses, general pauses. Like, imagine the present simple, right? When you say, I work every day, that doesn't mean that you're working all the time. It just means you're working like today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, every day. And you are working without making any pauses. Always, every single day you work. Like, for example, Shahzad. Shahzad works every single day for 8 hours. No joke. Shahzad does that, and then also he does the channel stuff. Shahzad is not overwhelmed because Shahzad is consistent. He is consistently working every single day. So that is what consistent means. Every single day, or maybe like every single time you do something, you do it. You don't forget, you do things in a similar way, which is good. Consistent is a positive term. Next is self-imposed. Self-imposed basically means something that was, somebody made you do something. Somebody forced you to do something. But self-imposed means by yourself. Sorry, the word imposed means somebody made you do something, but self-imposed means you made yourself do it. For example, like, I have a self-imposed goal. I need to get IELTS 15. So this means like something that I made myself do, something that I made myself believe I need to do. Next is the word sacrifice. Sacrifice basically is whenever you lose something to gain something, right? You basically, like, you give away your time, your work, your effort, something like that, in order to get something else. Like, for example, to get money, right? That is a sacrifice. That is giving up something that you want to keep something else. Let's continue. Measurable. Measurable and benchmark. These are great words. Benchmark means a standard for measuring something. So, for example, like, the benchmark for IELTS teachers in Uzbekistan is 8.5. So every single IELTS teacher needs to have 8.5 for something, like speaking, listening, whatever. Measurable means able to be measured, able to be seen. For example, are your emotions measurable? Can you measure emotions? No, they are not measurable. You cannot see how sad you are or how angry you are. You know that you're angry, or maybe a little bit angry, or very angry, but there's no exact number. There's no number, so it's not measurable. Whereas, let's say, the amount of water that I have in my bottle is measurable. We can know exactly how much water there is. There's like, I don't know, half a liter, 2 liters, whatever. So measurable is something that you can see, the exact amount. Next is attainable. Attainable is something that can be achieved. So the difference between measurable and attainable is measurable means something that you can measure. You can see. Is it finished? Is it, how much is there? Is there like a lot? How long is it? Whatever. You can see the amount. but attainable means something that you can do. It is a synonym of the word achievable. It's a great word. Next is urge. Urge is the desire or the want to do something. Whenever you want to do something, you have an urge. Usually the word urge is not like, you want to do something for a long period of time. It's just in one moment you want to do this, and then you are, you want to do it, and then you do it. By the way, people in the chat are asking, where is this book? Where is the file? Can you send the file? Yes, when you join the intensive speaking course, you get this file. You also get we're going to send this file into the group anyway. But when you join the intensive speaking course, you get 21 lessons from me, 13 lessons like this, and 8 feedback sessions. And you also get 40 recorded lessons like this. 40 recorded lessons of me talking about IELTS topics, vocabulary, explanations, techniques, skills, everything. How to get IELTS 9, how to raise your IELTS. If you use all of the materials in the course, I guarantee you will raise your score by at least 1 band to 1.5 bands. At least like that, you will raise it, because this course is full of materials, at least 1,000 band 9 vocabulary words. So the people that are asking for the files, as soon as you join the intensive speaking course, you will get 40 files exactly like this with 1,000 vocabulary words overall. Plus there will be 13 more live lessons with me and 8 feedback sessions also with me. Feedback from a native speaker. That's all I can say. Sorry. Let's continue. Next is the word anticlimactic. Let's say this word together. You can also say anticlimactic. You don't need to say anti. It depends on how you're saying it, slowly or quickly. Let's say it together. Anticlimactic. Anticlimactic. This part can be a little bit difficult. Climactic. So this basically means whenever you are expecting something impressive, something cool, and then it turns out to be not cool. It's not interesting. For example, you're watching like the movie Avatar 2. You think everything is going to be really interesting, but then it's very boring because Avatar 2 is anticlimactic. By the way, I watched that movie yesterday. I hated it. It was terrible. It looked cool, very nice, thank you, but the plots and the things that are happening, the story, it's so boring, and it's 3 hours. Don't watch Avatar 2. Terrible movie. Let's continue. Okay, last 2 words. Burnout. Burnout is whenever you are working for a very long amount of time, and then you become tired of the work. You cannot work anymore because you are burnt out. You lost all of your strength, all of your energy, everything. You don't want to work anymore. This is a very, very good word to use on your test for a lot of different topics. And lastly is shortcut. Shortcut is basically the easy way to do something. So this is a great word to describe, if you're where are my headphones? I cannot find them. It's weird. Oh, my lamp. Oh no. What happened? 1 second. Sorry, my lamp turned off. Oh, okay. Okay, everything's working. Shortcut basically describes the easy way to do something. Whenever you know, the method of doing something easier. For example, the shortcut to learning IELTS is buying Mr. Alex's speaking course. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. So those were the topic-related words connected to happiness, achievement, success, and goals. These are very important topics for IELTS. A lot of the topics in part 1 are going to be about this. Some topics in part 3 are going to be about this. Now let's move on to some idioms that you can use in different topics. Last time I gave you 5 idioms. I explained 5 idioms connected to this topic, right? Happiness, success, goals, rewards, feeling proud. They can also be used in different topics, as I said before. I'm not going to explain them today, but here they are. Good riddance, throw in the towel, carry on at all costs, stumbling blocks, the bigger picture, and tunnel vision. These are the collocations that I wanted you to basically to learn because they're the most important. Let me give you 5 more, or actually let's do 7. 7 more idioms from this list that I think are very usable, very easy to use, very good. Potential obstacle. This is a great collocation, and specifically what I want you to take away from this is the word potential. Potential can be a noun, which means the ability to do something, right? Or specifically the ability to do things. For example, you can say, my students are very smart. All of them have a lot of potential. This means all of them can do a lot of things. But also the word potential can be used with a lot of words. For example, potential obstacle, potential problem, potential lesson, potential anything. It's an amazing word for IELTS speaking because it shows that you have like complex ideas, right? Let me give you an example. When you are learning, when I was learning IELTS, when I started learning IELTS, my teacher told me there would be some problems. This is a simple sentence. It's very simple. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing interesting happens in the sentence. You're just saying exact, objective, simple facts. This sentence, right, if you use this collocation, you are explaining a more complex idea. It's literally more difficult because of this one word, right? Let me give you the same sentence. When I started learning IELTS, my teacher told me there would be some potential obstacles. Now, the sentence is more difficult, literally just like that. Because now what you're explaining is that in the past, there was a situation in the future that was uncertain, right? And that level of uncertainty makes a more complex idea. It's not about grammatically complex sentences, it's about ideas that are difficult to kind of understand, I guess. Let's put it like that. Good collocation. Very nice collocation. Potential. Let's continue. Desired outcome. Desired is also the same as potential. It's a great word. We have another teacher here. 1 second. One sec. Wait, come here, Christina. Here she is. This is our new assistant teacher. She has band 15, just like the other one. She really wants to eat. She's always very hungry. Can you see her? Wait. Oh, no. Wait. No, come back. Don't go. No! Okay, she ran away, guys. Give me a second. I need to take care of the assistant teacher. Give me one moment. I apologize. Mr. Shahzad, how's the lesson going so far?
The lesson has been absolutely amazing so far. Yeah, I hope that assistant teachers will stop interrupting. It seems they really, really want to teach.
They really do. Oh, okay. Here, I'm going to take her away. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
But Alex, I really wanted to watch Avatar with my girlfriend. Why did you say that? I hate you.
1 sec. I'm coming. Wait.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, so the reason why you should not watch Avatar is because it's boring. Nothing happens in the movie. Let me tell you. So it's 3 hours, right? I can actually give you a very, very exact reason why the Avatar is very boring. And you know what? Let's imagine this is an IELTS speaking question, okay? Why did you not like the Avatar movie? I did not enjoy the Avatar movie, and I do not recommend it to anyone because the Avatar movie is a full 3 hours. In those 3 hours, you think that the story is going to be interesting and interesting things are going to happen. In reality, the story is very predictable. Every single thing that happens, if you just think for like 2 or 3 seconds, you know exactly every single thing that will happen in the entire movie. In the middle of the movie, there's a part where all of the main problems, like for example, there's a person trying to kill the main character. All of the problems are forgotten. We forget about all of the problems. And we just watch the characters meeting some other characters. And that's it. They just talk for like 1 hour and nothing happens. Nothing interesting. There is like a fish that talks. There's some ridiculous things, but none of it is interesting. You don't care about the main characters. You don't care about the new characters. And none of it gives you any emotions. Usually when I watch a movie, and I have already said this, I cry. I feel a lot of emotions because I always connect to the people on the camera. You know, the people in the movie. When I watched the Avatar, I did not cry. I did not care. I was not interested. I thought the movie was very beautiful, but the story itself was terrible. It was not interesting at all. I would give the movie maybe 4 out of 10. No, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 maximum. I was interested for 10 hours, for 3 hours for the whole movie because it looked cool and also because I was in a cinema. And the cinema was very comfortable. I had like a very comfortable seat. But if I was sitting in just a chair, like a wooden chair, I would not watch the Avatar for 3 hours. I would leave and go buy some KFC. The movie is not worth it. I don't recommend it. That's my recommendation. That's it. Don't recommend it.
Okay, perfect. Now let's move to vocabulary.
Yeah, let's continue the vocabulary. Guys, if you need me to explain any movie, just call me. You know my number. Anyway, let's continue. Desired is also a great collocation with the word outcome. It can also be used with a lot of other words, like for the same as potential. Desired basically means something that you want. It comes from the word desire, which I think you know. It is a synonym of want, and it's also a synonym of long for. The difference is that desire is basically something you want, but you're not doing anything for. So yeah, desired outcome is like a goal that you want, to achieve. Let's continue. Vague goals. Here we go. Good. Vague goals, especially the word vague is important. Basically, this means goals that are not 100% concrete. You don't know all the information about the goals. You have not formulated everything that you want to achieve. So, for example, if I say, in 2023, I want to become popular. Technically, that's understandable, but actually that doesn't really, you cannot measure that. That's not measurable. You cannot measure popularity. I can say I want to have 10,000 followers on Telegram. That is very, what? Somebody said emotional burnout. 1 second. Somebody said my video is not working. Basically, I turned it on and off again.
Okay,
if I say I want, it's working. Okay. If I say I want to become popular, that's vague. That's not 100%. If I say I want to have 50,000 Telegram followers, that is very concrete. Yes, it's simple to understand. Sorry, my brain turned off a little bit. Okay, let's continue. So that's it for the for vague goals. Let's continue. Sidetracked. This is something that I do a lot. Sidetrack basically means whenever you take your attention away from one thing to another thing, whenever your brain focuses on something else. Generally, the word sidetracked is a great word, and it can be used for a lot of things, but basically sidetrack means to focus on something else. If you're talking about your own goals, you can say, this year I wanted to become a builder, but I got sidetracked, and instead I became a Telegram admin. I don't know. Yeah. Next is a great collocation, to reach new heights. I think this is the same in other languages as well. This is a very popular collocation. It basically means to go really high to new levels, basically, to reach new levels. So, yeah, achieve new targets, reach new levels. It means to move forward in your life, in your career, in your business, anything like that. Next is applaud your efforts. You can use this to talk about somebody else, or you can use this to talk about other people for you. Like, for example, I applaud your efforts. You can say this to somebody. Or other people applauded my efforts. This is a great way to describe other people celebrating your victory. Like, whenever you do something good, whenever you do something positive, other people applaud you. That is a great way to describe it. Good collocation. And let's do the last one, main objective. Basically, direct synonym of main goal. Objective is a very good word. Yeah, direct synonym. You can use it in the same situations. So let us continue. Let's move on to the next part of today. We're going to be doing some Band 9 sample answers. That is why we have Mr. Shahzad here. Band 9 sample answers. Let's get into it. Shahzad, can you ask me questions that you have not asked me before?
I will try to make some of them new. Absolutely, yeah. Send me all of them. Okay. There are some new ones, yeah, but yeah, 50-50. We will make it.
Sounds good. Let's do it. And as usual, while I am answering the questions, I am also going to be using the vocabulary from today's lesson. So that is what we're going to be doing. Let's get right into it. Here you go, Mr. Shahzad. Are you going to send it into the channel?
No, I guess no need.
Okay, sure, sounds good. Let's send it at least into the chat.
Okay, yeah, send to the chat. Okay. Yeah, guys. So this is what's really awesome about the course. He shows Ben 9 answers to new and difficult IELTS questions while also using the vocabulary, Ben 9 vocabulary that he has taught. So, guys, now listen carefully and write down some other Ben 9 vocabulary and Ben 9 ideas that he might use. So, Alex, are you ready?
No, give me 1 second. I'm sharing the link to the oh shishishusha. I'm sharing the
Okay.
link. The link.
Yeah, guys. So get some papers, get a pen or a pencil. Yeah, he will show Ben 9 amazing answers for new IELTS questions. We will get started in a minute, and the questions are about success because today's topic has been about success. He has taught Ben 9 vocabulary for success. Now he will show Ben 9 answers for questions, new IELTS questions about being successful.
Okay, so I think I am ready. Oh wait, no, pause. Okay, yeah, now I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get started. So, the first question is, why is it that some people achieve success faster than others?
I think the reason why is because people all have their own journeys in life. It's very important to remember, I think, at least for me, that life is not a race. You determine your own speed and the speed at which you achieve things. And I think even more than that also, your own concentration and discipline determine those things. So, people achieve different things because people set different goals. They aim for different things. Some people only have spiritual goals and they only really care about, their spiritual future and their emotions, while other people really long for a lot of money. They really want to amass a lot of riches and become very popular. I guess there's a lot of different categories of people. But I will say that generally people want different things, which is why people achieve different things at, different speeds.
Okay, perfect. And is it important for people to make mistakes to achieve the greatest success?
I would say that it's not necessarily important. I don't think it's a priority. I think that the old saying, right? The old saying goes, "You can't cook an omelet without breaking some eggs," and I kind of believe that. I kind of agree with that. You cannot succeed without first failing. But also, I think there's a lot of people in life who learned from the mistakes of others, and that's why they didn't really need to fail, because they already knew how all of that would work. They didn't really need to learn all of those. They didn't need to make all those mistakes if they learned about them. So I think that, it's important to remember that if you try to fail, it'll be very overwhelming. If you consistently fail and you consistently make these kinds of mistakes, maybe you will even lose your motivation. So I think that it's better, instead of making like a self-imposed rule that you need to fail, it's better to learn from other people and then make it a commitment to succeed rather than a commitment to fail.
Okay, now new question. Do you agree that today's success mainly depends on being able to manage time effectively?
I think that managing time effectively is a very big part of that. For example, if you have a financial target in your life, like you want to earn some amount of money, then you need to make it measurable and attainable. You need to understand that if you want to earn some amount of money, you need to spend this amount of time trying to get that money. You need to look at the bigger picture and understand what kind of business you can do to get that money. And then in the end, you need to stick to it. That is the biggest thing. So I think that, yes, managing time is a very important part of achieving goals.
Okay, next new question is, Mhm. In general, how do people judge or assess the success of others?
I think most people, unfortunately, they measure success in money. They see whether a certain person has surpassed them in terms of financial wealth, and that's how they decide whether that person is more important or less important. A lot of people think about somebody's likelihood of success in terms of money as well. And so I think that the most popular way for people nowadays to check whether somebody has achieved their desired outcome is by looking at that person's bank account.
Okay. The next question is why is it that some people achieve success faster than others?
That's a very interesting question. I did say that life is not a race, but I still think that if you have some kind of goal, it's better to achieve it more quickly rather than less quickly. It's more important to finish all of your tasks and then move on to new ones. So I think that a lot of people they maybe do things faster than other people because they are more they are less likely to get sidetracked. I think the people that get things done the fastest, they resist all of their urges to start taking new hobbies, to start doing new, projects. They just focus on the thing that they want to do. They put in their blood, sweat, and tears in order to achieve whatever goal they have. And then after they've sacrificed everything else, they get to their goal faster because they have less obstacles and stumbling blocks. All they have to do is they just have to focus on one goal. If you have 10 different goals to achieve, then your main goal is lost. You lose your main objective. But if you do not lack direction, if you focus on what you need to do, you will, of course, achieve it faster.
Okay. The next question is, what rewards can companies offer to outstanding employees?
Well, firstly, I want to say that it's very important for these kinds of employees to, receive rewards. A lot of companies think that, giving rewards to their employees is extra. I think that it's very important, and the benefits that it can give are numerous. There's a lot of different benefits. The biggest benefit I think that giving employees benefits gives what? The biggest benefit that companies get from giving employees benefits is to improve the employee's confidence. If an employee feels that they are valued and that the company cares about them, they become more confident in their work, and that makes them work better. If you have a set of desired outcomes from the employee's work, then every single time the employee succeeds and they do what you need them to do, you need to reward them. The employee, for example, if he's a salesman, if he made a very good sale, give the employee some extra money. If you don't need that money right now, then just give the employee some more money, and then the employee will be happier. These kinds of goals and outcomes are very easy to see, and it's very easy to measure and to see whether or not the employee is really striving for your goals or not.
Okay. Do people usually set different goals at different stages of life?
Yes, I think that they certainly do. I think that it's very important for people actually to improve and to get new goals. If you notice that whenever you're older, you have the same goals as you did when you were a kid, the question is, did you ever actually become older, right? I think that it's not something that you must change, but I think that it's like a symptom of a bigger thing. Like on the surface, right, somebody has the same goals as they did when they were a kid. But below the surface, it means that they just didn't mature. They didn't become older. Maybe this can also be a good thing. For example, some people, right, whenever they're children, they want to be astronauts. When they grow older, they still want to be astronauts. But if they understand what that actually means, they need to know science, they need to know mathematics, etc., etc. They need to become smarter. In this case, it's good. But if they are like 20, 26, and they want to be an astronaut and they're not doing anything about it, then that is already a sign that they did not grow older.
Okay. Do you agree that people learn the most from their mistakes?
I think so. I think that it's kind of like a Pavlov's dog effect. And, the Pavlov's dog experiment is a very famous experiment where a man would ring a bell every single time he gave his dog food. And then the dog would become hungry when it heard the bell because those two things were connected. I think that if you get hurt, if you feel pain every single time you make a mistake, you will associate your mistakes with pain and you will stop making those mistakes. There's a lot of different problems that come out of this. This is a very important psychological problem and idea. But generally, one of the traits of people who are successful is avoiding mistakes. So it's the ambition of a lot of these people to kind of, do things successfully the first time, right, without making mistakes. And that is because I think that making mistakes can be good for achieving success.
Okay, the next question is, which one is more important to be considered truly successful, being healthy or being rich?
I think being healthy. I cannot imagine a single rich person about to die who tells you that all of their money is more important than their health. Everybody knows that. I think that the problem is most of the time those two things are connected because a lot more poor people are unhealthy than rich people. If you have money, you give that money to a doctor and the doctor says, okay, let me fix you. And everything is fine because you have access to healthcare. You have access to improving your health and, not losing your life, basically. But when you're poor, you cannot do that. You have to go to government-funded hospitals and different kinds of services that are not necessarily the highest quality.
All right. And the next question is, are successful people often lonely?
Can you please repeat your question?
Are successful people often lonely?
I think that they can be. I believe that it's somewhat of a cliche to say that all successful people are lonely, but I think one of the biggest shortcuts to becoming successful is to stop communicating with people that hinder your success. Let me write that word down. That's a good word. Hinder. To stop. These kinds of people that hinder your progress, they can be very difficult to detect and very difficult to see. A lot of your friends in your life actually stop you from becoming successful, and if you don't realize this, it can be difficult to become successful.
All right, now new question. Is it important to make important sacrifices in order to become successful?
I think it depends on what a sacrifice is for you. I feel like every single person has their own set of morals and their own set of rules, which they, determine themselves. So whenever you have some kind of barrier or you have some kind of problem in your life, right? Would you sacrifice your time? I think a lot of people would say yes. Would you sacrifice your efforts and your work? A lot of people would also say yes. But now the question is, would you sacrifice your relationships with the people in your family? For example, would you stop talking to your family in order to be successful? And a lot more people would say maybe no. And I think that's okay. As I said before, I think every single person has their own morals and their own rules for themselves. I guess you could call that their own discipline. And so, if you really work hard enough, I don't think you will need to make all those sacrifices. But it depends on what your field of work is. Yeah.
And on what occasions would adults feel proud of themselves? With what kind of achievements?
Nowadays, adults, I think, are most happy and they feel the most positive emotions and the most dopamine is released into their brain whenever they get money. I think those are the most popular occasions for adults nowadays. For example, somebody gets a promotion. They get more money every single month from their company. That's a reason to celebrate. They got some kind of bonus check from their company for New Year's. They got, they made an investment and the investment earned a lot of money. These are the main situations, I think, when people celebrate. There's also, of course, situations like birthdays or holidays where people feel a lot of happiness and, they let themselves stop being so stressed. But I think those are few and far between. I think the most popular situations are connected to money.
Okay. And the next question is, what do you think is success for children?
1 second. Is this a new question or not?
New question.
Okay, cool. I think that most children make small objectives for themselves, right? Generally, children lack direction. Until you go to school, you do not know what life is really about. You don't know about economy. You don't know about money. You don't know about, family and relationships as much as you know after school. And so I think that most children set small goals for themselves. Like, for example, video games. Whenever they play video games, they make themselves goals. Whenever they go outside and play with their friends, they make goals. And I think the biggest thing that children want themselves to do is to get older. I think 80-90% of children that you ask today, you ask them, what do you want to do? They say, well, I want to get older. I want to become older, because they want to have access to more capabilities. Children nowadays don't have as many capabilities, I think, as there were in the past.
And what about you? What made you happy as a child? What was your success as a child?
When I was a kid, I was a little bit of a special kid. I used to play in the garden every single day. I used to do things outside. And so for me, my biggest successes and my biggest goals that I would formulate were connected with making, creating, and building different things. I really liked to play in the garden with different garden tools like hammers and nails. And I liked to make contraptions and mechanisms. Like, for example, once I made a roller coaster or, a small house for animals. And so I think, for me, my biggest personal satisfaction was formulating some kind of project, making it, and then having everything go successful.
Okay, perfect. And the next question is, if people want to be successful, is it important that they set clear goals?
Yes. Unless you have a goal, you cannot be successful. The definition of success is getting your goal. And if you do not have a goal, you cannot be successful. I think that's a very simple fact that a lot of people forget nowadays. Any kind of success is always connected to making these goals. And actually, something I learned for myself is the goals that you make, they're not always good goals. It's easier and it's much better to make a smaller goal that you can easily achieve. You stick to it because it's easy to do. You do it and then you feel satisfaction. You feel like what you did and the thing that you're doing is successful already. Even though you didn't finish everything, you already feel successful. And that motivates you to continue and to keep your nose to the grindstone, to continue working every single day. And after you set these small goals, it's much easier to cultivate a competitive spirit and to finish all of your goals that you had, even the big ones. Okay, let's do the last question. Is that it?
Yeah, okay, the last one more question. Okay. What skills are important for success in business?
In business, I think, first of all, it's very important to remember that there are no easy routes. There are no easy ways to become successful in business. It's all about perseverance and continuing and resisting the urge to throw in the towel. You should not go through some kind of stumbling block or obstacle thinking, this was my last day, right? You should never have a last day. Every single day, if you think of it like a video game, every single day, if you fail, then you did not lose. You just have to click restart. You just have to try again. The only time that you actually lose in business is when you quit, whenever you stop playing and whenever you stop working. That is the day that you lose in business, in my opinion.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
Masterclass.
All right, cool. That was a lot of questions, a lot of band 9 answers. I hope you guys listened to that. During the intensive speaking course, what we do is you listen back to my answers and you need to write down my ideas and vocabulary. By doing this, you can then record yourself using my ideas and vocabulary, and that will help you to practice with my samples. Also, as you could hear, especially the first like 5, 6 answers, I used a lot of the vocabulary because that is what the course is about. It's about helping you use the vocabulary from the lessons. So this is what we did. Hopefully that was nice. Let's continue to the next part of today. Give me a second.
Yeah, this is like really, really amazing. I feel like this is the best part of the lesson because they can also learn how to use the vocabulary correctly. You know, for example, I got 8 from speaking, and also I got 6 from speaking in my first exam. And I think the biggest difference and what made me get 8 from speaking is I started using vocabulary accurately, in the right context. This was the biggest problem. And I think this is the best part of the speaking course. They can learn how to use this amazing vocabulary accurately, and they can see your ideas and how to answer these questions. So, amazing mix, I would say.
Hey, Mr. Shahzad, I have an idea. Actually, you've been part of these lessons for 4 speaking courses already. Every single lesson, every single course, you are here watching some of the lessons. You watch a lot of the recordings. Why don't we actually? This is not official. Okay, don't take this as a fact, but this is just an idea. Why don't you take the IELTS test sometime, like maybe March or like sometime this year, to see whether you improved your speaking? Maybe you're already at 8.5. Maybe you improved by half a band just by watching some of the lessons. Genuinely, think about it. What if?
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about it. Yeah, I want to make it like 8.5.
Yeah, I think it's really possible, and I think it'd be cool. So watch out for that, guys. You should watch, because Mr. Shahzad, he has been participating and he's been making the lessons together with me, but actually he's also been watching the lessons and listening to me speaking. So if Mr. Shahzad can go from 8 to 8.5, which is a very big jump, maybe he can even go to 9. If he can do that,
yeah, like if I do that, it's perfect. But also, like the reason I got 8 is you as well.
absolutely. And so
yeah,
if he can do that, I believe that any of you can raise your score by 1 band, 1.5 band. It's really possible, and the materials in this course are amazing. There's a lot of them. By the way, today and tomorrow before 9 are the last moments to pay for the intensive speaking course number 4. The last time that you have to join it is now. So make your decision, watch this demo lesson, listen to all the vocabulary and the ideas that I'm teaching, and then make your decision after that, because time is running out. Anyway, let's continue with today's lesson, and we're going to do some interaction real quick. While we're doing that, I'm going to be talking to Mr. Shahzad. So here's how the interaction works. There are 2 questions connected to the topic. They are connected to the topic, as I said. Are successful people often lonely? And why do people set goals? So what I want you to do is I'm going to make this post in the group right now. IELTS with Alex. Oh, sorry, wrong channel. Here you go. Okay, so answer one of those questions in the chat group. I'm not going to be leaving. I'm going to be staying here with you, and we're going to be talking to Mr. Shahzad about the intensive speaking course. We're going to be giving you guys some information and just talking to each other. So right now, you can write your ideas. I will give you around 2 minutes, and then after 2 minutes finishes, I will start reading your answers. Give me a moment. Wait. All right. The reason why we're doing this actually partially is because my throat hurts, because when you speak for like 30 minutes, it starts hurting. Anyway, Mr. Shahzad, tell me, how much does the intensive speaking course cost?
Okay. 350,000 sums, and it includes 21.
Wait, pause. Wait, let me ask you a question. The last course cost 300,000. Did you add something big in this intensive speaking course to justify the reason why it costs 350 instead of 300? Did you add something big, something important? Tell me.
Yeah, much bigger.
What did you add? You added one thing that is very important.
We added full marks, extra full marks with Johnny. Johnny is a legend in the beginning of the speaking course to know your results. Yeah.
By the way, Mr. Shankar, I gotta message you on the chat. Give me a second. Okay.
Har kun o'sha assistentlar bilan speaking praktikadan tashqari o'sha boshida ham kursga kirganda rezultatinglarni bilib olishinglar uchun boshlashdan oldin to'liq mo'kla bo'ladi Jonni bilan. Polni. Hammadan bitta olib chiqadi.
By the way, two things. Bonus points if you use the vocabulary from today, if you use the vocabulary that I taught you, and also bonus points if you answer the second question because it's a little bit more difficult. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hopefully you guys are writing your ideas in the chat, IWE21. I hope to see a lot of your answers, and I'll be reading some of them and giving you feedback in terms of your answer, plus in terms of the grammar. All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Actually, 1 second. I'm not going to the restroom, Shahzad, I promise. Not like last time. 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, God. I hope. Yeah, guys, write down your answers and try to use the lesson vocabulary. Mana shu oxirida turgan kanalda ikkita savolga javob yozasizlar. Alex analiz qiladi. Xatolarni tushuntirib, nima xatolar bo'ldi, nima kamchiliklar, hammasini aytib ketadi. Bu og'zaki savol-javobdan tashqari bo'ladigan narsa. Chunki xatolarni analiz qilib, grammatikadan ayniqsa, ideyalarni ustida ishlash uchun juda ham zo'r narsa bu. O'sha uchun bunaqa ham qo'shimcha praktika bo'ladi.
All right, Mr. Shahzad, are you here? How are you doing?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Today is the demo lesson. Okay, so here we go. Here is our. It's so cold outside. I hate it so much. Every single time it's cold, my brain, I feel like it just turns off. Okay. So let's get into it. Here's the feedback. I have turned the camera. 1 second. I think I will do it in a second. Here we go. Okay, I think you should see my screen. Yeah. Raise your hand in the voice chat if you can see my screen. If you can see the Telegram. Okay. Perfect. So everybody, if you're writing, finish your message, whatever. Come back to the lesson. I'm going to be reading your answers. Here's what I want you to do. My apologies. If I am reading your answer, what I want you to do is I want you to listen to my feedback in terms of your grammar, in terms of the length of your answer, in terms of the topic. Listen to it, and then I want you to correct your message, because then you will be improving. If you just listen and you forget about it, that's not good. But if you improve your message, that is a big, good thing. It's very good to improve and to kind of rewrite your own text. It's the same as how you improve your writing, basically. That's how you can improve your speaking. So stop writing your message, whatever you're doing, just stop it, get back to the lesson. Once again, the questions are successful people often lonely, and why do people set goals? So let me get into the feedback. Shahina, for the second question. Because they don't want to live without ambitions. In the past, people lived just to survive. People should always aim to build their future by doing something worthy. Good. I like this answer, but it's a little bit too short. Maybe one extra sentence to make it longer. I really like this phrase. People, because they don't want to live without ambitions. That's very nice. I feel like if you made a sentence after that to explain that idea, like, for example, because they don't want to live without ambitions, because people don't want to live without ambitions, living without ambitions is very boring, and you feel like you are not going anywhere. Like, that would make this a perfect answer. Excess. In my view, successful people tend to be alone because they need peace to do their best and create good things. Also, they usually try to eliminate distractions by not going to parties or hanging out with their friends. Good. This is not bad. This is incorrect. Tend to be... Oh, no, sorry. What? My brain. This is correct. Tend to be alone is good. Okay. How you could improve your answer is by making maybe a synonym here. Like, they need peace to do their best and create good things. Like, the whole phrase, it's good, but it's not as good as it could be. You could say something like, because they need to be at peace. That would be better already, at peace. To do the best work that they can be doing. That sounds good. Like, yeah, that sounds good. To do the best work that they could be doing. That is a good phrase. Okay, cool. Safura Hudoyorova. Number one, sometimes they are. They may feel lonely as they mostly focus on their jobs and studies rather than communicating with others. As a result, they may end up feeling abandoned or ignored. This is a good answer grammatically. Very nice, but it's too short. Next person. One sec. First of all, after people who became after people who became successful have failed one or two times, then they will opt to be alone to do the work which they are going to do. This part doesn't make sense. To do the work which they need to do, for example. The fact that they are doing something alone can be beneficial and can also be a hardship sometimes. That is why being alone is such an amazing way to be strong and such a persistent person in business or other jobs in which people are going to work. Should you really want to be one of the successful people in the world, you will have to learn how to do or finish things by being alone. This sentence is very good. Good grammar, very good message. These parts right here, there's a lot of grammar problems. A lot of different ones. I think I kind of showed you. Plus my face was like a little bit, confused. This part right here, there's a couple grammar problems. This part is great. This is perfect. I think people set goals because they want to make some improvements in their lives, and it is a kind of motivation that helps us make turns in our life. Make turns in our life? What does that mean? Make changes in our life. Also, it increases the productivity in our work or study. Good. Nice. No, I totally disagree with this opinion because I consider successful people who have good family, a lot of friends, and also have successful relationships with them. What do you mean you consider? You can change this a little bit by saying, no, I totally disagree with this opinion because you should keep in mind people are also very successful when they have a it is your opinion that success means something. See, I read your answer and I didn't understand it because there's a problem. So the problem is right here. I totally disagree with this opinion because in my opinion, I think that successful people are those who have a good family, a lot of friends, and also have successful relationships with them. So change the structure of your answer, and then it makes sense, because the structure of your answer makes your answer difficult to understand. I don't think so, because both of these answers are way too short. They seem alone, but not lonely. They just don't want to show themselves, as well as their hard work speaks instead of them. This is okay. This right here. As well as this, their hard work usually speaks for them. That would be grammatically correct. You should change that a little bit. Okay, I'm going to check two more because we're kind of running out of time. We need to move on to the grammar part of today and to the main topic part. So I will read two more messages. But during the course, I try to read every single one as best as I can. In the course, I read every single message. Okay. Also, give me 1 second. Wait. Pause. Okay. Yaxhe. Let's continue. Let me see the two messages that I think look the best. Meow. All right. Simple. Let's read this one. So after this, one more message. There are clear examples that why people set a goals in their lives to reach new heights. Okay, there are clear examples of why people set goals in their lives to reach new heights. I don't get it. What? Oh, okay. So this whole answer, it should be just different because it doesn't make sense. The structure doesn't make sense. Here's how I would say this. It's very clear to me that people set new goals in their life because they know that defeat usually tastes very bitter. That's better. Just remove the part about reaching new heights. You can add that later. That's yeah. Furthermore, to reach the desired goals, usually they long for something they don't have and set a clear goals. What? Simple. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. I don't understand. This part right here, I guess it would be better to say, furthermore, I think that these people long for something and they don't have clear goals, which is why I think that people need to set these goals. I guess like that. A little bit confusing, very confusing grammar. Work on grammar for sure. Try to make sentences more simple. Don't include so much vocabulary. And let's do this. Last person, Half Moon. Hello there. I will answer number one question. So yes, people are more ambitious when they're alone. Namely, when all people have left them. Because I think actually people don't think about failures or even bad things that can happen when they don't have any friends. I mean, in general, but when things go wrong and they feel loneliness, they start to focus on their own lives, I guess, because it's many people, on their own lives, their own ambitions and future. Yeah. Remember, when you have a list, right, your list needs to be the same word type. For example, like you said, own life, own ambitions, and own future, right? There's no word own here, but that you don't need that word because it's already implied. Ambitions is plural. Life is not plural. You need to say lives because life is countable. So you need to say ambitions, lives. It needs to be plural. Okay, cool. So yeah, good job, guys. Good job for writing your ideas. This is something that we do during the speaking course every single day. By writing down your answer, you can very clearly see all of the different parts, and you can clearly understand where you're making the mistakes. And this is one of the most important parts of the intensive speaking course because it is easy for me to read all of your answers, and also because it's easy for me to understand where the mistakes are, and also easy for you to understand what you're doing correctly or not correctly. Let's move on to the last part of today. We're going to be doing part 2, and I'm going to be explaining to you some techniques and some things to keep in mind. I'm pretty sure that we explain part 2 in every single demo lesson. Shahzad, can you tell me, do you remember what was the topic for like the first demo lesson? Wasn't it also part 2? Shahzad? Okay, Shahzad left. I have a feeling it was part 2. I don't know why. If somebody can go watch the first demo lesson, it's on the channel. I'm pretty sure it is, which is kind of funny, but it's fine. Number 2 is part 2 is a very important topic, and it can also be very difficult. Okay, yeah, let us continue. Question prompts. So let's get into it. This is IELTS speaking part 2. As you guys know, this is the section of IELTS when you have 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to think about what you're going to say. This is called the long turn because in this section, you need to speak for a long amount of time without making pauses. That is your biggest goal, basically. You just need to speak without making pauses. And whenever you're preparing for IELTS speaking part 2, you need to keep in mind several different things. Keep in mind, this is for preparing. So whenever you're speaking, that's actually a different lesson. I think we're also going to be covering that, speaking during part 2, because that's also very difficult. Preparation during part 2 has a couple very specific goals and a couple very specific rules that I'm going to teach you today. Usually this kind of topic I teach at the end because all you need to know is the facts. That's it. We will practice later, but you practice at home by yourself. I just need to teach you the facts. So let's get into it. Number 1, you need to focus on the questions. I always recommend to students that they need to focus on the questions because it is the easiest way to prepare for speaking part 2. If you prepare for speaking part 2 by doing like some kind of extra technique that another teacher has taught you, like the cross technique where you write 4 different ideas or you just write your ideas, it can be difficult to speak. For me personally, and the way that I teach is to write down the answers to the questions that are on the paper. You get a cue card with 3, 4, 5 different questions. Here's what it looks like. Describe something healthy you enjoy doing. This is the main question. This is the topic. 1 question, 2 question, 3 question, and explain why you think something. This is always the same one at the end, and explain why. This question is the conclusion. You need to repeat all of your main ideas again. This is body 2. This is body 1. This is the introduction. Imagine that this is an IELTS writing topic. This is the best way to think about it because by imagining it like this, it's much easier to structure your ideas, to structure your speech, and to connect everything together. Very easy. At the beginning, you say, I believe that. At the end, you say, in conclusion, and that's it. And it's very easy to get all the parts correctly. It's no simple way, and it's the way that I do it myself. Yeah, so the first thing you should do is you should look at the question words. What, where, who, why you think. These are basically the keywords, and in this example right here, there are answers to every single question. right? So the questions are what, where, who, why, when, how. These are all the questions. Generally, I believe that why is the most important one, and usually it's much easier to talk about why than the other questions. But basically, in this example, we have the question, where is it? Describe something healthy you enjoy doing, right? And then we have answers for all these questions. The answers are written the way that you should write them. You need to go through this file and read everything. So look at this. Circuit training. Different exercises, work whole body. Varies each week, makes it interesting. Sometimes do spin really hard. Where? TM Fitness Factory, owned by Linda's friend in club, and son Tom. So these are only the keywords, only the most important words. And this is how you should write the ideas for your speaking part 2 as well. No extra words. I, me, he, him, like his, her, a, and, the, all those words. Forget them. Only the keywords. Very important. Yeah, so that's about it. You have about 5 seconds to think about your answer, and then you have around 40 to 45 seconds to write your ideas as fast as possible. That's it. Then whenever you begin speaking, you get into the topic, and I recommend looking at both the question and the answer. Do not read the question. This is very important. Never read the questions on the sheet. It's a bad idea. Only read your own answers. And that's it. So yeah, that's it. Tip number 1. Oh yeah, also, one more thing. So I do recommend you to use all of the questions. I recommend you to prepare using the cue card, but you don't actually have to use all of the questions and all the bullet points. It's not necessary. You only have to use the questions which you need, because there is no task achievement for speaking. They are not measuring how well you are answering the questions. The questions are only there to help you. That's it. And you can also add other ideas. Everything is fine like that. So that's it. Those are my tips for preparation for speaking part 2. We will be going more in depth about speaking during speaking part 2 and more ideas, etc., etc. We will work on this again. This is just the demo lesson. So yeah, that is about it. Thank you guys for participating. That is the end of the speaking demo lesson, I think. Also right here, you have my own ideas. So this is me answering the questions. This is like number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4, and this is number 5. So as you can see here are my own answers about this topic. I recommend you to write down vocabulary and ideas while you're speaking together. So yeah, let's get into some questions. Whatever questions you have about the intensive speaking course, I'm going to unmute you and you can ask them. So if you have a question, please raise your hand right now. It has to be a question. Please raise your hand. Let's get into it. Questions. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, yeah, that's the end of the demo lesson. I'm going to stop the recording. After this, just imagine that I'm answering some questions. Bye.